Well, we definitely want to cover just quickly how to close the episode and then talk about MOTS.
Oh, goody. Okay, MOTS. I can do that while I'm sleeping. All right. So this individual, our client, we're going to pretend like we've had this client for a while. We're going to go ahead and look at the program history, and we know that the last service was today at 11:30. Let's look. Now, this service history is super helpful. So helpful. You can go right into any document that you have opened, and we can see that from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., this client received their last service, and that was the group we did with them. So now we know that we need to close them, let's say at 12 p.m. So we're going to go to the clinical record. We're going to go back over here to program management, and we're going to add a transfer discharge. Now, this is where things can get interesting. Now, earlier, when we wanted to add them to our caseload, we referred to an additional program. We can transfer them out of mental health into another program. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to discharge from the program. And that is different than discharge from the episode. Okay. The episode means everything closes, everybody on the caseload is end dated, all the groups are end dated, and somebody's going to get mad at you. So you are prepared to discharge this client from your program. And the program that you're choosing is the mental health program. And the reason is we transferred them out to a new provider. We sent them to options. When you submit, there's unsigned service documents in this client's file. And that can't be fixed until Edith, oh my great golly, that can't be fixed for 100 years. So were we actually in a real file, there shouldn't be a whole list of unsigned documents. And if there was, then you would email the people that have unsigned notes and their supervisor and me, because people seem to pay attention more. And I can, if they don't pay attention, I will delete their work so that you can continue yours. And they will have to figure out how to put it back in there. Because if it's been a day and a half and nobody has bothered to respond, I will delete their work, trust. So we're going to pretend like we went ahead and we closed that episode. Now, in order for the file to be compliant, we have to have a conclusion summary for the mental health program. So, clinical service documents, we have a behavioral health services conclusion summary. This is the fancy new COA mandated sort of new document. Now I'm going to say start from the top because I forgot to say it last time. So we know that the episode, we don't know when the episode started. Let's figure that out. The episode started on 10/28/20. So when we get into this, we're going to say that the episode started on 10/28/20. but this program started on 3/8/2021. This program is mental health. The discharge date is going to be today, and we're going to call it complete, even though it may not be. Now, this list right here is about everything that the client engaged in while they were with us at Willamette Family. So we know that they went to the health clinic. We know that they were in rapid access. We know that they were a part of men's residential, and we know that they were a part of adult mental health. Okay. And the destination, this is where's the client going once with your program. Okay, so we're going to put referred to options. And BOP, that stands for Board of Prisons. You may or may not ever have a BOP client. I'm going to say no. But if you say yes, it will require you to answer some extra questions. Like, did you do your termination report 2 weeks prior? The date that the termination report was completed, that kind of stuff. So we're going to say no. We're going to put in here that this client has F43.12, which is PTSD chronic. And we're not going to add another one, and submit. ASAM. Now, this is kind of handy dandy. When you select mental health, you just push on through because you're not going to do an ASAM. Now, clinical summary. It changes depending on what you choose. Okay? Each one is different. This is the one for mental health. You're going to put your goal in here, your progress towards your goal. And we're not going to add another goal because we only had the one, and we submit. Resources and supports. This one, it looks like a lot of information, but it's really not. A lot of this is read-only text that's meant for you to help you understand what you're supposed to be listing, and to also include the reviewer in on what's happening on this document. Okay, so if the client has a resource, and resources are more like a professional relationship. So the resources, options, and more words about options. You can add another resource, like if you want to put in here WF continues to attend substance use services, you can do that too. We're not going to add another one. And then support, such as family, social support, community support. This is where you would put the client's identified family, the client's identified support, and maybe something that they wouldn't recognize, like if they had a probation officer, they may not know that that's a support. It actually is to help them be accountable. You can add all that in there. I'm going to say, and then talk about mom a little bit. And then we could add the sponsor and talk about the sponsor for a little bit. Now, if there is, and this is sort of just information, the relapse prevention or transition plan, this is where it's found. This is meant for a site reviewer to understand where to find this information, should it be applicable, which there is no relapse prevention plan or transition plan for mental health. Okay, did the client accept a referral for medical services? You say yes, automatic. You say no, you tell us why. Or alternate recommendations that you gave. Like, client already had a primary care physician. I'm going to mark it yes because it's handy dandy. Did they accept a referral into behavioral health? In this case, they started in behavioral health. and came to you. We're going to say already. And then these are any referrals you gave. COA mandates at least one referral, which we're going to say, again, we're going to use options because that's where we sent them. Okay. You can add more referrals if you send them to the housing board, or if you sent them to employment services, or if you, whatever, but you don't have to, but you do have to have one referral. We submit, and then this is all kind of new, this notification of discharge. Again, this is information that is mandated through the COA guidelines. So this was never a thing that was part of our discharge summaries in the past. Collaborating referral service notification. This would be if you're collaborating with options, or you're collaborating with the SUDS counselor, they're leaving mental health and they're going to options, but they're going to continue with us for SUDS services. That's where you would put this information. Okay, and you're going to put the name, the address, and the contact information so the client can find it, because the client's going to get a copy of this. You're either going to mail it to them or you're going to hand it to them in your closing session. And this is really helpful for the client if they have that in here. So we're going to say WF, and that's the main line number over at the men's facility, is 4500. We're going to put in the date that we notified them. Hopefully it was before the end. Now, if you want to add options here, I'm just winging it here, kids. Okay. So client notification. This is new. We have to document how the client was notified. This can be with the 30-day form letter that you mail out that you're at risk of being closed because we haven't seen you. Or it can be other ways. So we're going to say yes, the client. Great. Edith says she sent this letter to you by email. You should have a copy. So we're going to say that the client was not present, okay? And they're discharging from mental health. Now, was there a referral source? Were they referred to us? Now we're going to say yes. And then we select from this drop down. Client was notified via a phone interaction. The notice was sent and the referral source was notified if applicable. So this could be the res counselor. This could be the probation officer. This could be the pretrial officer. This could be any number of referring sources. You can also say you were unable to reach the client, that the notification was mailed to the address, and that you notified the referral source. You can also say the phone and the address in the ECR was less than helpful. And you can just say that all you did was notify the referrer. And the day that you notified was the day before you closed. So when we submit here, we are prepared to sign this off. And we submit. Now, when we look at our report, this is what we can print for the client, and hopefully it will have some useful information for them. It should have the referral information. It should have their resources. It should have phone numbers for them to call should they need it. And that stuff should also be available on their service plan when you make it. Okay, do we have questions about this?
I have a question, Susie.
Yes.
So a couple new pieces for me. I've been signing these for a bit of time, and I have a couple questions that came up. In the very beginning of the document, you indicated that the team should be going ahead and clicking any of the services and supports that we are aware they utilized. That's a little bit new for me, and I think for the team, and so I just want to review this piece with the team. We have been clicking mental health only up until now, but certainly we can begin to add any other supports we're aware of, because that piece was new for me. So I just wanted to highlight that piece for the team.
Okay.
And so,
So you
go
see
ahead.
how the episode starts here? That's
Yeah.
meant to include everything that has occurred for the client since this date. Your program happened this date, but that you are aware of. They went to the health clinic, they were in men's res, maybe they had treatment, who knows, maybe they lived in the Marlowe house.
Yeah. And people will know how to, just so the team knows, for those of you who are new, Susie showed us a number of times to look at the program history, and that will tell you any of the programs clients have been enrolled at any given time, whether that's the REC or Buckley. It doesn't necessarily say the Grand, that sort of thing, or the health department, health clinic. You'd have to know that. So do click the ones that you're aware of. That will be a practice change. And then then the second question I had, which I think was also very helpful, is I like the way that you focused on the referral section. I think we will try to build that up a little bit, a little further as far as any referrals that might have been provided. It's already included if we referred them to anywhere else. We are providing them with referrals at their intake in a packet now, so that's often listed on here. And then you mentioned printing this and mailing it. That is also not a practice that we've been accustomed to, or giving it to the client. Typically, we would be having to mail it to them if they're going to have a copy, because usually it's completed after they're not with us anymore. And so that's a new practice that I had not been aware of yet either. So those were just kind of some points that I wanted to point out to the team. Do people have questions about this document? This is a document that is often completed by mental health, but it could also be at times completed by a QMHA working with the client, depending on who's asked to complete the document. It does not have to be the QMHP. As you can see, it's pretty open-ended as to who can complete it. So just wanted to open up those questions. Excellent. Thank you. If people don't have questions about it, that's good, but I want to make sure we highlighted those items. So thank you.